Hi there, welcome back to the Leeds lobby. It's our post-match chat.
2-1. What a game.
Oh, so much to take from that game. I mean, obviously, we've seen the pre-season, we've seen Marsh's tactics, and kind of be looking at teams that aren't completely setting up as they're going to set up with the Palace and Villa game. Particularly the Palace game, only had half a team out, really, and then we saw teams that are equivalent of the Championship.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've seen us against Premiership opposition in the new season with the new Marsh signings in. Obviously, Sinisterra isn't there, Dan James isn't there, so we are missing a couple of first-team players. But, I mean, overall, got to be pretty happy with that, haven't we?
Yeah, you got to be. And Sinisterra and James should be back for the Southampton game, so that's going to give us a huge boost on this week as well.
So really excited to see us all running out. I think that don't get me wrong, we're going to go on Twitter and there are going to be people that are saying that the second half, we didn't play as well in the second half as we did the first half. There are going to be people that are going to be saying that we looked like we were all over the place at points in that game. But what you have to bear in mind is this is the Premiership. There are going to be parts of each game where we are going to dominate, and we quite clearly had that. And there are also going to be parts of the game where the other team is going to have some element of control. You know, remember, we're not Man City. We can't boss a game from beginning to end. But overall, I mean, we've got to be pretty happy with that, haven't we?
Yeah, it was. Obviously, predictions. Dad predicted 3-1. I predicted 1-0. So, I predicted the right scoreline in terms of how the size of the scoreline. Dad predicted the Wolves would score. Yeah. So, you've got to be... that'll be a point for both of us because we both predicted a win.
I will say I did say that I thought Wolves would score first. I thought we would come back into the game. What I really like about it is when we can be in a situation where you can have a draw, and that draw, if you get that draw in the 90th minute, it almost feels like a win, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you concede an early goal and then you level up late on, you come in a situation where you score an early goal and you're pressing all the way through, and the other team score and you draw. And it can almost feel like a defeat because you've dropped 2 points. So for us to go 1-0 down and then come back and win the game, that's really, really good for the team because it does something up here. And it also does something to Wolves, which is obviously interesting as well. But I tell you what I really, really liked. Apart from, we'll talk about the signings in a minute and how they performed. I like the fact we actually looked potent in front of goal.
Yeah.
We looked like we were going to score.
You know what I liked? I like the fact that Wolves went 1-0 up and then they were trying to time waste from the 10th minute, and then they ended up losing and they didn't have enough time to get back into the game.
So for me, if we look at the actual game, I've written a few notes here. One of the key things with the first goal, from our point of view, I think the first goal from Wolves' point of view. It was quite early in the game. Nobody really settled down by that stage.
Against the run of play, really, wasn't it?
A little bit against the run of play. I felt a little bit mugged off, but when that goal went in, I didn't think that was going to be the end of the goals in that game. I thought that we would get an opportunity to come back into it.
Yeah.
But
Aaronson.
When we scored our goal, the first goal, it's the press. It was the press. It was a Jesse Marsh system that we saw in action because
and Rodrigo again. Us two saying that we think Rodrigo is going to have a good season under Marsh again.
Different
showing
player.
Us that he can score.
Different player, and not just getting the ball and putting the ball in the back of the net. The decision making to actually take the shot, but is involved in all aspects of the attack, which I found Rodrigo is once again growing on me. And I know he had purple patches last season and the season before where he went 2 or 3 games and played well and then drifted out. I'm hoping that's not the case. But you know what? With Aaronson up there, we actually look like we've got some teeth for a change.
Yeah.
So for me, the first goal, Aaronson's basically winning the ball back in a position where we wouldn't have won the ball back under Bielsa, I don't think, with our pressing and the way we pressed in that final third, and that created the opportunity. And this is what the Jesse Marsh system is all about if we're going to characterise that.
Yeah.
So the first goal we went over to Rodrigo.
From Rodrigo, by the way. Great finish.
Good finish. And, to see it's Rodrigo, I think, to be honest with you, aside Bamford, and don't get me wrong, I wanted Aaronson to get his first goal today. It looks like they've robbed him of it. Yeah. And Bamford of the assist.
I think we're all in agreement that Aaronson did all the effort there. Bamford didn't get an assist, obviously they cut that out as well. But I think we're all in agreement, Bamford assist, Aaronson goal. Don't care what Sky Sports are saying, really.
But again, if the defender got the final touch on it, Aaronson got himself into that position. We were so often last season, Harrison was whipping the ball onto the edge of that 6-yard box, and it were a yard in front of the keeper, and we got nobody sliding in. And this is what Aaronson is going to give us this year. He's going to be arriving in the box. And he's already my new favourite player. The guy is, when he gets the ball and the ball's played to him, the way he just turns and allows the ball to come across his body, and just without even touching the ball, just skins the player that's defensive, that's coming at him. The way he receives the ball with Aaronson, in that game, I found it a beautiful thing. He steps over the ball and lets it go behind him. Yeah. He lets it run across his body and takes it on his second foot, or he greets the ball and he gets to the ball with his first foot and cuts out. It just creates himself space. Somebody said something about Gemma Collins. What was that?
Brendan Aaronson could go into a single bed with Gemma Collins and still find space.
And this is it. We've looked to be good in tight spaces, and I think that Aaronson is looking to me like if he plays like that all season, he's gonna be an absolute baller for
top scorer for me. I think him and Rodrigo are going to be battling it out for top scorer.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
So what do you think about some of the new signings?
For me, I think Christensen I would have given a 5. I do think he looks like he's mint going forward. He's got a tremendous understanding with Aaronson already, it seems. But again, once or twice we saw Firpo-esque overcommitment in the challenge, leaving themselves open. And so many times the opposition came down that left hand side and there was nobody there because he's not got back quick enough. That's a little bit of a concern. Looks good going forward, not so good defensively. Yeah. But what about that tackle?
That tackle where Ike Nuri was through on goal, could have easily made it. I think at that point it was 2-1 to Leeds. I believe at that point it was 2-1 to Leeds. Could have easily equalised. Rasmus slides in. What a tackle!
And those tackles it's so important in that position that it's timed properly. On account of the fact that obviously if it's not, it gives away a penalty. So again, good decision making from his point of view. A pinpoint tackle just shows that he can defend, and he has got there in his locker. But he looked a threat going forward, particularly in that first sort of half an hour when we were dominant in the first half.
Yeah. What about Adams?
Adams again. Adams again. If you watch that game back and you look at specifically Adams, what you'll find is, the odd misplaced pass, but he did what he's supposed to do. There is quite often I saw him quite high up on that right-hand side in particular, almost in a right-wing position. People have been talking about how we're going to be narrow. And I, at one stage, saw Adams, and I also saw Aaronson right up on that wing, up towards the corner, with Rasmus not far behind them. 3 players literally hugging that touchline. And I honestly think that no matter what the haters are saying, I think that Leeds United are going to hug and work every inch of that football pitch. There's no doubt about that. I do think we looked particularly frail on the wings, though. Yeah. You made a particular comment while we were watching the game about Wolves and where they were attacking. What was happening there?
Did I?
Yeah, you said they were attacking down the wings.
Oh yeah, they were definitely. I think they definitely figured us out after the first half. They were pushing everyone out wide. I think Gibbs White left his sort of attacking midfielder position and was pushing out wide. Hwang was leaving his position up front and going to the left wing, as we know they can play there and they are capable there. Prudence was obviously playing a lot wider as opposed to who was playing down the middle in the first half. I think that they definitely... Wolves have those options, you see. They have players that... They like to have narrow players that push out wide. They like to have that Prudence, attacking midfielder, left winger. Nato, attacking midfielder, left winger. Traore, striker, right winger. They love to have narrow, wide players.
And I think that the amount of times if we think about that second half where Wolves were attacking and there were waves of attacks coming at one point, we were weathering them, and I'll be honest with you, certain points I looked like that Wolves were going to score and a goal was inevitable, which is worrying. But having said that, it would have been that the other end as well when Leeds didn't score at the end of it. So, we had that chance with Patrick Bamford where he took the ball off the goalkeeper's toe almost, and that could have quite easily ended up in the back of the net. I know because Dan went out and made some cream crackers, which is usually what happens. But then again, we were close to scoring, not even 2 minutes later. But where Wolves' attacks were coming, they were coming quite often Unfortunately, they were coming on that right-hand side. They were coming on our left-hand side, and Click was being targeted in that position, which we know is going to happen. Now, I'm hopeful that even though we've gone ahead and won that game, the vulnerability that we have on that side is going to be something the board are going to take note of, and we're still to bring a signing in. But bearing that in mind, if we bring a left back in, obviously we don't have Strauch on that side.
Yeah.
What happens with that central defensive pairing? How do you think Koch and Llorente did?
I think Llorente still looked a little bit shaky at times. He looked like he was getting the ball and just putting it out to avoid pressure. Conceded, I think we conceded 1 or 2 corners. I think most of them were because of Llorente. Koch looked really good in the air, good at putting the challenges in. But Llorente still looks a little bit shaky to me. I think that he saw his best days when he was playing William Cooper, and I don't think that's the direction the club's heading in.
Yeah, and I think I agree with that. I don't think Joffrey really had enough time to impact the game, but Bamford was playing so well. He looked so much like he's back to himself.
Bamford looked really sharp.
So the central defensive partnership seems to work for me. I like the look of it. I mean, Rocker was involved in quite a lot, but that second goal, Tyler Adams slide rule pass to Click. Click had a good game for the amount of time he was in. The touches that he had were significant, should we say. He played the ball to Bamford. Again, a great slide rule pass, perfect pass almost. Bamford puts a cross in. And, you know, my grandma could have scored that from that point. It was a tap-in. It was more, from my point, what was encouraging was Aaronson being there, putting pressure on the defender to score that own goal. Although, for me, I would give... It's a crying shame that Aaronson hasn't had that given him and awarded him the goal. And
Bamford's assist as well, obviously. If he'd have got an assist on his game back, that would have been good for him as well.
What was interesting is on the commentary that we got, they were talking about Aaronson's goal. They showed the play back, and when the two commentators saw that it was the defender that knocked it in, they both went quiet. Neither of them took it off him, but Sky Sports did very, very quickly, and then obviously the world echoes around the world that it's an own goal.
Talk about Rasmus's SARS challenge on Rasmus that wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, for me... We've got to ask the question, and here's the thing. Do you remember last season, who was it who got sent off in that fixture?
Ailey?
No. Who in the fixture where there was a challenge on Melier? Got injured.
Raul Jimenez.
Yeah, and Raul Jimenez got sent off, and it was a 50-50 ball, and the people were saying whoever gets to that ball first is the right to be there. Whoever comes in late is the person who should be penalised. And Jimenez obviously got sent off. And it contributed to us winning that game. And the keeper was injured. Now, what you've got to kind of bear in mind is in this situation, Rasmus 100% got the ball. The goalkeeper did not touch the ball at all, and he took Rasmus out.
Slapped him in the face.
He slapped him around the face. That anywhere else on the pitch that would have been penalised. That has to be if the keeper comes out swinging his arms, looks to make contact with the ball with the only part of the body that the attacking player cannot use, and then he actually whacks him around the head and takes him completely and totally out and potentially injures him, that has to be a penalty. Yeah. And for me, even if that had been at the other end, I would have thought that from a defending team's point of view, I thought we'd have got away quite lightly. But all said, the referee wasn't particularly great.
No, I felt like in the first half, a lot of decisions were going Wolves' way.
Yeah, Llorente, you know, just as it comes to mind, there were a couple of tackles that Leeds made in and around the box. There was one where there was a player getting onto the end of the ball, and I think Tyler Adams who just basically put was it Rasmus put enough on him to make him fall over before he got to the ball. That could have quite easily been dangerous. That was like a Luke Ayling challenge almost.
Yeah, that was it was actually Harrison.
Was it Harrison?
Harrison on Neto, yeah.
Right. That looked a little bit dangerous. I think, to be honest with you, because of the doubt in the referee's mind at the other end, it may well have played on him and he hadn't given that. But then again, we made a couple of really good sliding challenges that could have ended badly in terms of...
We looked much more solid at the back. Who was your man of the match?
I think, for me, I think it would be Aaronson.
Aaronson, fair enough. For me, Harrison had a really solid game.
What Leeds are going to love about Aaronson is the fact that he runs and runs and runs and runs. And my concern, like a lot of other fans, has been that we've brought in a lot of players from lower leagues. When I say lower leagues, I don't mean like Championship and League One. What I mean is leagues around the world that aren't competing at the same level as the Premiership. And I've seen people on Twitter saying you've not seen them play any Premiership minutes yet, and this, that, and the other. Only to remind them, look, these players have played Champions League, and you've just gone on YouTube and you'll see they've played Champions League and played at that level.
Yeah.
I don't think there is any of these signings to me that look like they're not Premiership level.
Yeah, I agree.
Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that. I think that Aaronson, every time that he's had to make a step up, he has. Obviously, playing in the MLS for Philadelphia Union, he then moved up to the Bundesliga, made the step up and playing in a much more physical league in the Austrian Bundesliga, much more physical than the MLS, made his step up and performed for them. Then when he had to make the step up to the Champions League, he made the step up to the Champions League and performed in that. Now he's making the step up to the Premier League, and I think that he's going to do the exact same.
Just before we go any further, I've not already asked you to do so, please put a like on the video. If you've made it to this point, please put a like on the video. If you're somebody that's a returning viewer, please consider subscribing. It really does mean a lot to us and helps us with the channel. But again, it's an interesting 90 minutes for the football. The first 45 minutes we played better, and obviously drew the first half 1-1.
I agree. Yeah.
The second half, we got a goal that we probably deserved in the first half, but it just absolutely wonderful to have Leeds get the first 3 points under the belt and know that we're playing Southampton, who's got absolutely mullered today. Who they play today?
Spurs, and I think they got me 4-1.
4-1. So
Forest 2-0, Newcastle. No, Newcastle 2, Forest 0.
Newcastle 2, Forest 0. I suppose that's going to begin to answer some of our questions about whether Nottingham Forest are gelling yet. I mean, if we're going to avoid a relegation battle, I suppose to a certain extent we've got to ask ourselves, which teams are we going to finish above?
Yeah.
We've played Wolves. I think, to be honest with you, on balance, we've probably outplayed them today.
Yeah.
But again, that's very subjective because Wolves did have strong passages of play as well. I think Meslier had a good game. He made some reasonably decent saves. I think Forest are obviously in a situation where they've signed a lot of players. They haven't probably gelled yet. It looks like they've been beaten quite soundly by a Newcastle side.
It definitely does.
And I did hear rumours, obviously I wasn't watching that game, that Newcastle were all over Forest. It wasn't. That
is what I've heard as well.
The scoreline apparently does reflect the game.
Yeah.
You can't get beat 4-1 and not get battered, I don't think, in terms of Southampton. Yeah. So these are some of the sides that are going to struggle this year. Yeah,
definitely. I think that we'll probably do a lot better than we did last season after looking at that.
Who was it who's put Leeds in 19th place? Somebody's put Leeds in 19th place in their predictions. Who was that?
I think it was a pundit, wasn't it?
I think it might even be Alan Smith.
Alan Smith, that's the one, I think.
Alan Smith, who's really liked by the Leeds United fan base for going across to Scum, kind of when we found out that he were going there for European football and not to help the team out. But again, that's going to divide opinion when we say that, but he's put us in 19th place. Well, Mr. Smith, I think we've got some players on this pitch that are going to score and do very well for Leeds United this year.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see how we progress going forward. I don't. Looking on that performance, judging our performance, which should be a relegation battle this year. Wolves they're not a bad side. They're a mid-table probably side.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the game next week. I don't think that's really got anything for us to worry about. Hopefully, and even though it's an away game, I'm hoping that we'll get at least a point. I don't think we'll go down some, do you?
No, I don't think we'll go down.
So, anything else to say?
No, as it stands, we're in 5th place, and hopefully we can keep around that area for the rest of the season.
Leeds are in 5th, Forest are in 19th. Do you think we're going to finish that way?
No, I don't think we'll finish 5th. I still think around that 12th to 14th mark. But, I'd be happy with that, and I'd be happy if Forest finished below us, obviously us living in Nottingham. But
obviously, we're still at a point where the league positions are dictated by the alphabetical order with which your team find yourself. But it's nice to be at the end of the first season, having picked up points, bearing in mind last year, we didn't put points up until October. So it's great to see. So again, if you've not already subscribed, please do so. We will be back and probably doing a little bit more of a deeper chat a little bit later on in the week, particularly when we see the press conferences and look at whether Leeds are planning on bringing anybody else in. And then also we'll do a pre-match prediction for the Southampton game. So by all means, please subscribe, hit the like button, share the videos, and tell us what you think. All right, thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.